Hello everybody, welcome to Red Tool House. On today's video, we're going to continue on our timber frame project. And the next thing to do is to hit the woods and start shopping for logs so we can get our cut list put together. So come along, let's make some sawdust. So in last week's video, I described what we were doing here with our firewood storage area, rain catchment, multi-function process. So I won't get into many more details of that. You can obviously go back to the video and check that out. I'll link to it right here. But so we got our concrete's settled nicely, dried, cured out, had a little bit of rain, no big deal. Realized after the fact I probably should have at least pinned this one down through the concrete into the ground since it sits a little proud. Everybody else is recessed, but it is what it is. I'm going to leave the form boards on it until we actually start to frame up stuff. But I've got here in my pocket, I have our cut list. I sat down, looked at my SketchUp drawing, roughed out exactly what I need as a cut list on the mill. Now I have to use my brain to go into the woods and find logs that will accommodate this and harvest those. So let's go down. There's a spot down here in the valley, close to the mill actually, where I've purposely over the years left some smaller trees. So knowing that those would serve well for smaller dimensional lumber that I need taken out with the mill. So let's go down there and check that out. Well, come on, Fuzzface. Get him. And don't hit me in the face with your tail like you normally do. Hold on. Okay, so this is the area in question. This is actually, the mill's right behind you all. I'll pan here in a second to show you. But this is an area where I currently don't have pig fence. The pig paddock for the South Ridge stops right here on the other side of this road. But here is an area where I eventually want to put in more pig fence. Ideally in my mind, if the budget would ever show up, I would love to have a 20-foot shipping container set right here that could be my feed storage and be some other opportunities for the farm, and then almost do like a bank barn using the shipping container. Have this cut. There's a little bit of a bench here. It's steep right here, and then another little bench where I could bank barn on top of the shipping container. The shipping containers don't have strong sidewalls, they have incredibly strong verticals. So I could even frame out or build something on top to be additional storage. And then if I have pig fence down and around behind, then I would be close to the pigs and access there. But as you can see, the majority of what we're looking at here is poplar. And when I was clearing some of these things out, I specifically left some of these phone pole poplars, knowing that we'd come back and harvest some of those. So that's what we're going to look at. Let me get you a close-up so you can see what I'm talking about. So you can see here, there's my road cut going up to what we call the boat meadow because it has a boat in it. And then my other bench that we cleared years ago up there. But you see, other than this little maple right here and this little clump of maple and a tiny little maple grouping here, most of this is poplar. And it's smaller poplar, probably 10 to 12 to 14 inch diameter at the base, but it is definitely going to suffice for what we want to do. You can see through here. So I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, I don't know about that guy, he's kind of small, 7, 8, 9, possibly 10. This one guy, I've left him, he's on the forest edge too much, so he's definitely branched out quick. So I want to take a quick second to give a shout out to this week's video sponsor, and that's Goldenmate batteries. This is another lithium iron phosphate battery that I have from Goldenmate. The first one you guys have seen on the channel before. We use that up at camp to power the outdoor shower in Johnny House. Well, they sent me this one. This is their Creus 100B, and it is a waterproof battery, which is pretty cool. So it's a 100 amp hour battery, and of course it's portable with the strap, very easy to carry, light, about half the weight as a lead acid battery, and it's completely encased. Even the lugs have these rain caps on top of them. So it's a great application for outdoor use. Now what I'm using it for here on the farm is to run my diesel pump to pump fuel into the tractor. It's handy to have here right by the barn and will run for quite a long time. In fact, with the drawl of that heavy pump, I think I can run that pump for 10 hours before I need to recharge. With lithium iron phosphate, of course, you get 100% discharge. You can take it down that low without damage like you would have with a lead acid battery. Another neat feature about this battery is it's Bluetooth enabled. So you can download the Goldenmate app and you can monitor the battery usage. You can check how much battery life it has left. You can check the draw and check the temperature. All of that information is on the app. And the range on this is incredible because I'm here at the barn and when I connect, it sees the other battery that I brought home from camp for the winter. It sees the other battery up at the house, and that's over 100 yards away. So for my application here, where I want to put an alligator clip from my pump onto the battery easily, I just fashioned some tabs basically out of aluminum. So just made these aluminum tabs that I'll be able to bolt down here, and that'll give me the opportunity to clip my alligator clips on there. Just take my hot and my ground. Then I can turn on my pump. So I can monitor that usage on the app and keep an eye on how much life I've got left in the battery. Being this close to the edge of the barn, I don't have to worry about rain and water blowing in and causing an issue with this waterproof battery. What's great about this battery system as well is you can connect up to four batteries in series or parallel if you had a massive power need. And of course you can also recharge these with a typical solar panel charge controller or any battery charger that's compatible with the lithium iron phosphate battery. Well, I'm going to put a link in the video description below so you can check that out. All right, let's get back to our project. Okay, Troy, here you go again using that word poplar. Well, this is tulip poplar, or the tulip tree. It is not a true poplar, but here in West Virginia, that's what we refer to it as. If you call it something else, people look at you like you're stupid. So poplar, the concern that you guys probably have that know trees, and the concern that I have, of course, is poplar rots really quickly when it gets wet and stays wet. But the timber frame design I have, we're going to have hopefully enough overhang that the main support structures are not going to get wet unless we have just a crazy blowing windy rain type of thing. And what we'll also be doing, maybe doing either some oil soaking or shishugibon on some of the some of the lower portions of that. I don't think I'm going to do the whole frame, but maybe the feet where they're touching the concrete specifically, and the deck where the wood is actually going to sit. But we'll get into those details way down the road. I actually have a couple decent poplar over here on this knoll right across from the mill, so if need be I can drop those that way and have those right close to the mill. One more comment I want to make before we actually fire up the chainsaw is the reason why I'm going with smaller diameter wood for this, specifically for my main structure portions, so my posts and my beams. The reason why I want smaller diameter wood is I want to isolate the heart of the log in the center of that for strength and integrity. And I think what I'm going to do is when we get to the point of firing up the mill and start doing that, we'll do a deeper dive into that specific as to why and how we are going to isolate the heart over on Woodcraft Revival. And so we won't get into that deep detail here, but we will show the milling, of course, squaring everything up and getting it in our inventory storage. So let me get the chainsaw out, and I think we're going to start with these four guys here on the edge of my road. And I think I'm going to try to fell them toward us. Move the side by side down a little bit, you know, just in case. And then I'll leave our top somewhere around in here that I can move back with the tractor, and the plan will be to come back and chip all the tops up at once. All right, good night. Never let it be said that here at Red Tool House, we don't show the mess ups as well as the successes. So I'm showing this even though I know I'm going to get comments about it. It is what it is. I think the person that's going to give me the most comments about it is going to be my dear mother. She's going to say, "Are you stupid? Didn't I raise you better than that?" And to that I say, "Yes, Mom, you did." So here's what happened. Bigger tree. Normally I would do a plunge cut. Just didn't. Don't know why. Just doing notch cuts with everything else. Didn't do a plunge cut. You can see the topography we're dealing with here. And what happened is I dropped my back cut lower than my wedge angle. And of course she started to come back. So got pinched, and of course thinking I could get to it quick enough with a husky to be able to make a relief cut to stick a wedge in. As soon as I put the relief cut in it, it pinched as well. So to keep from dying and tearing a bunch of stuff up, I grabbed my 100-foot cable. Thanks, Tom. Still using that sucker. And hooked it up to the winch of the side-by-side, got far out of the way of the distance, further than the apex of the fall. Just winched it over, and everything released fine. Husky, I just checked, it's working fine, because it was a little higher. I was a little worried about it getting torn up as the log rolled away, but it fortunately fell this way and the log fell that way. So good to go. So yeah, sometimes you just don't think. That's why this kind of stuff can kill you. Now, Mom, I know you watch. I had everything under control, and I had communications in place in case something went wrong. So it's all good. All right, so let's look at what we've got on the ground. We've got 3 decent trees here, and we got more to choose from. But let's get a rough idea of inventory we've got. I can get off the hill without falling. Throw all this stuff down. Won't throw the chainsaw there. Yeah. All right, so let's go with our problem log first. The plan was to put it on that side of the poplar so it wouldn't land in my road. And look what it did. Although I am happy it took out that huge sycamore branch that took a turn signal off my tractor years ago. All right, so we're looking at 14-inch diameter on the widest part. And let's see what usable length we have before we get. First really big junction knot is at 50 feet. Okay. And what is the diameter at 50 feet? Well, all right. 7.5 inches at 50 feet. So I can still get some of my 4x material out of that. All right, so 50-foot log, and we're looking at 14 and 7. So I need, I bet I can get 2 of my 6x6s out of the base of this guy easily. Let's see what this guy will give me. A bit of a dog leg in this one. Speaking of dog leg, where'd my dog go? "26 feet, 10.5 inches. All right, 26 feet, 10.5 to 7. Last guy is 11 inches. May have some rod in her. Call that 42. All right, so according to my calculations on these 3 trees, I need 12 large structure timbers. And by large structure, that's anything 4 by 6 or greater, from lengths of 8 feet all the way up to 14 feet. So I've got 5, 6, 7, 10. So I've got 10 of my 12 taken care of here. The last I need is 2 6 by 6 by 12s. So I'd like to have a nice 28, 30 foot log, straight as possible, that I can get those guys out of. So I've got 3 close candidates: this guy, and that guy. But tree number 1 has the diameter, but he does not have the length. So it's a shame. In fact, there's a pretty good knuckle or curve right there, and then a big dog leg there. So we're only, goodness, I don't even think there's 10 feet in that one. So we're going to leave him. This guy contains metal. So obviously everything from there down is waste. Let's see what his diameter is. It's 10 3/4. I could definitely get 6 by 6 out of him. But he's not going to be, guarantee you he's not 24 feet to that dog leg. So let's check number 3. I think she may be a winner. See, she does have a dog leg. If I can pan that high. All over the hill. You can see that bend, but I think that's above 24 feet. Should be almost 30 feet. So let's check diameter. $11 and a half, very much so. Oh, you're a beauty. Okay. So I'm going to guess from my cut, where I make my cut to that knuckle, I'm going to guess 25 feet. Let's see. We'll put it on the ground, and then we'll measure. Here, you guys play along as well. So comment below, and you got to use the timestamp, because if you comment after the timestamp, then I know you got the answer. But I'm going to make my cut roughly right there, all the way up to that right there. Tell me how many feet you think that is. And you think, Troy, you're using a wide angle lens. How in the world are we supposed to gauge that? Let's do this. So here, use this as a reference. I'm 6'2", 6'4" with heels on. So use that to figure out what you think that height is. And we'll put it on the ground and measure it. Not the ideal place to stick that, but I guess it'll work. All right. I bent my hook. Oh, look, barbed wire. All right, drum roll, please. The answer is 29 feet exactly. That's what we need. More than what we need, actually. All right, so those of you that guessed 29, you get the prize of the day, and that is 2 thumbs up. Before we do anything else, though, we're going to sharpen some chainsaw chains. All right, so I've got a edge put back on the steel. The Husky, my sharpener's up at the house, so I'll go get it later. But right now, I think what I'm going to do is go ahead and top my trees where I know I was going to stop. Get those topped and get the tractor here and drag those over to the mill. I think that makes more sense versus cutting to the length now and keep doing a bunch of back and forth. Since I'm just going that far, I know I can drag it from point A to point B with the tractor without any issues. So let's get these topped and drug out. Well, all right, that's a pretty good pile of poplar there. I think I can get my 12 logs out of there. Now, it all depends on how I cut and where'd you guys go? The amount of relish that I have at the end of the logs, the rough logs, to get my final size out of. Some of those were going to be down to just a couple inches. So as I go, I'm not going to cut them to length right now. I'm going to save that for the next day, because I want to have a fresh mind and a fresh body to be able to measure everything out and take my notes and look at what we've got. And of course, I need to inspect the end of the log behind you guys, make sure there's not any core rot in it. But I have a fresh set of eyes to look at that and see what we can get. And then of course, start putting them on the mill. We'll probably start with the bigger stuff first. And even though that's the first stuff we're going to timber frame, so I'm trying to think of the order of operations. Probably start with the big stuff first, get it on the rack, but put it on the rack in a way that I can put the smaller stuff behind it, and then put the big stuff on top, so we can obviously start milling, or we can start doing our timber frame joinery on our posts, because we want to start there, of course. Do our 2 bents, which is just our components that make up a section. So we'll get our 2 bents cut and prepared, dry fit, and then hopefully be able to go up there and start sticking it together. But hopefully here within the next week, we'll start milling, and we'll feature that on this channel. And of course, the detail work we'll do over at Woodcraft Revival. I'm sure those of you with a keen eye saw this attachment as a new attachment here on the farm. Norwood wanted me to try this out. This is their log hog for tractors. I like it. It's simply built, obviously not a lot of parts to break on it, but the mechanics of it, as you saw, using with the optional grapple, it doesn't come with the grapple, but using with an optional grapple, I'm able just to drop the grapple over the log with the 3-point hitch in the complete down position, pick that sucker up and get on down the road. And so this allows me to bring much bigger, longer, heavier stuff out of the woods than the Skidding, as you've seen me feature before, that I put behind the side-by-side. So the side-by-side allows me to bring stuff down quick. The tractor allows me to bring stuff down that's cumbersome. In fact, I could actually hook up with the multiple eyelets here. I could probably hook up 2 different chains and be able to pull 2 logs at the same time, whereas I wouldn't be able to do that with the Skidding. So this is nice. I appreciate them sending me this. Fun to play with. And I actually have a third one that I'm going to feature soon, but it's going to require hydraulics on the back of the tractor. And so we're going to be adding hydraulics to the old DK35, Lord willing. I think I'm going to see if I can recruit Dad to help me with that. And my hat has a little clue as to who's helping me with this as well. So we'll see what we can get done here, and just feature all kinds of different ways to get logs safely out of the woods and down to the mill. Appreciate everybody watching. I pray you all have a great week. Take care.